everyone, Husky Ninja here with a brand new Pawsome decks for you guys. Today we are looking at an Eminence in Shadow deck. And this deck was submitted by none other than Joker in the Discord. I will move this along so you guys can see the cards a bit better. But I will put a link down below to this deck so you guys can check it out for yourselves. And I do believe Y Switch covered this as well. So make sure you guys check her out as well. So without further ado, let's start! Now they call this Peasant Eminence with the beta PR. Now the beta PR, if you guys allow me to just check a Rooney. Is it this one? Ah, it's this one. This is the PR they are talking about. So, as you guys can see, it is a primarily blue deck, which a lot of Eminence and Shadow decks tend to be, with a single card in red and 9 in green, with 20 soul triggers total, with 42 characters and 8 climaxes. So, we shall start. And first off, we have Counter-Strike Epsilon, which is your level 3, and they run 3 copies of this. Continuous if you have 4 or more Eminence in Shadow characters. This card gets minus a level in hand, making her an early runner so you can play her level 2, as long as you meet her conditions. And when this card is placed on stage from hand, if you have 2 or more other Eminence in Shadow characters, you may choose a character in your clock and put face up underneath this as a marker. So it's a unique way of doing your clock heal. Instead of it being top card of your clock to win room like it usually is, this one, it's how this card will get its markers. And auto, pay 2. Put up to 1 card from your hand in waiting room. When this card is frontal attacked, you may pay the cost. If you do, this card gets a fallen ability to the end of turn. Continuous, the character facing this gets minus 2 soul. So if your opponent is attacking with a card that is 2 soul, you get no damage. If it's 3 soul, they only do 1 damage. So it's just like, yeah, I see you're attacking me. I'm going to reduce your attack. So that is a really neat level 3. And next up, we have everyone's favorite doggo girl, Delta, with the level 3 Onslaught Delta. And he runs 4 copies of this. During this card's battle, your opponent cannot play backup from hand. Which basically, cards that have, those of you who don't know, are cards like these two here, where they have the fist symbol under the level and cost. Those are your backups. So this Delta makes it so your opponent can't play any cards with that symbol on them. So basically, your opponent can't get any power boosts from backup. And auto, when this card is placed on stage from hand, you may deal 1 damage to your opponent. Damage may be cancelled. So instead of being like pay to do a burn, it's your player, there's a bit of damage straight away. It can be cancelled, but as long as you know your opponent's not got any climax cards that they can use to basically block that damage will be going through. And of course, it is one of the many cards that run off Sortie. Climax combo, pay 2 when this card attacks. If Sortie is in your climax area, and you have 1 or less Onslaught Delta, you may pay the cost. If you do deal 2 damage to your opponent, damage may be cancelled. So it's a good way of getting extra damage. So the auto and the climax combo, you can get 3 damage just from that. And that's before any attacks go through. So that is a really cool level 3. Especially where it's one of many that run off the same climax card, which helps with climax card maintenance. Like keeping track of how many climax cards are in your deck, which ones you need for specific climax combos. It's a good way to help with deck management. Next, we have another one that runs off Sortie. So these three run off Sortie for their climax combo. So next, we have a single copy of Deploying Zeta. Auto, pay 1. When this card is placed on a stage from hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, your opponent puts all their stock into their waiting room, puts the same number of cards from the top of their deck in their stock. This is very similar to the level 3 Salem from Ruby, where you have the choice of 2 abilities of course, like climax cards for your opponent's deck to waiting room to cause damage per climax card that was sent that way. And its other one was basically this one's pay ability, where your opponent puts, for example, say your opponent's stock is 10 cards. Your opponent has to put those 10 cards in their waiting room, and then put 10 cards from the top of their deck there, and they don't know what cards are being sent there. If it's a climax card, backup, cards they need, they have no idea if that's going to be amongst those cards being sent from their deck to stock. So it's a good way to help minimize the likelihood of your opponent being able to get cards out that they need. And its Sortie climax combo is when this card attacks, if Sortie is in your climax area, you have 1 or less Deploying Zeta. Look up to 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. Choose 1 card among them, put it at the bottom of their deck, and put the rest of their deck. Put the rest on the top of their deck in any order. And then this card gets 3k. Meaning, until the end of turn, meaning it makes Zeta a 13k without, of course, the 1/1 from the Sortie, and without any power boost for backup. That's just pure before you add other power boosts, because with the Sortie, it makes her a 14. Because Sortie is a 1/1, which he does run 4 copies of to help maximize for these 3. Next, we have 3 copies of her Resolve Alpha. Auto, when this card is placed on stage from hand, look up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 card among them, put it into your hand, and put the rest into your waiting room. This is a good way to basically see what cards you were going to hit. And if there's a card, like a character or a climax card you need for like your next turn, is a good way, and they're amongst those 3, is a good way to get those to your hand straight away so you're ready for the next turn. And climax combo. Pay 1, put 3 cards from your hand in your waiting room. That is a good way to get rid of cards you don't need from your hand. And when this card attacks, if Sortie is in your climax area, you have 2 or more or other characters, and you have 1 or less other Her Resolve Alpha, you may pay the cost. If you do, deal 2 damage to your opponent. If this damage is cancelled, you may deal 3 damage to your opponent. If this damage is cancelled, you may deal 4. So instead of you're probably like, oh, I've cancelled that damage. Say, okay. Take 3 damage. They cancel that, it's like, you now take 4 damage. If they cancel that, none of it goes through. But it's a good way to catch your opponent out of how rare you can get. Basically, make sure you can get damage when your opponent thinks, oh, I've damaged that. Well, cancelled that. When it's cancelled, like, okay, you take this much, you cancel that, you take this much. There's a little bit of like a, before you even do an attack. No, it's when I do an attack, here's some extra damage before a trigger goes through. So these 3, you will be seeing a lot of these 3 in them as the Shadow deck builds, just because 1, how good they are, and 2, they run off the same climax card, so you're not having to keep multiple different climax cards for different combos in your deck. Next, we have 1 copy of the level 2 powers of this backup. Auto, pay 2 when this card's backup, you may pay the cost. If you do, return all cards from your main room to your deck and shuffle your deck. This is a good way to get your deck shuffle without worrying about the refresh damage. Because you're not refreshing, you're doing it because of a card ability. An action, backup of 2,500. Pay 1, put this card from your hand into your main room. Choose one of your characters that's being frontal attacked, and that character gains 2,500 till the end of turn. I see why this is better than, say, like, the Trial Deck Alpha or Wanted Poster Gamma, because it's a higher backup, plus it gives you that free deck reshuffle, with all your cards from main room being sent back there. Next, we have a copy of the Trial Deck Form Restored Alpha. When you use this card's backup, if you have an Eminence character, choose one of your characters in battle. That character gains 1,000 power to the end of turn. And action, backup of 1,000. Put this card from your hand into your main room and choose one of your characters as being frontal attacked. And that character gains 1,000 power to the end of turn. So it's a good way to basically get a simple bit of power boost without anything insane, as it is a trial deck backup. And now for the only vanilla card in here. Fight against Fate Epsilon, which is your 5/5 vanilla. He runs 4 copies of this. Next, we have the Wanted Poster Gamma. Auto, put 2 cards from your hand into your main room. When you use this card's backup, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters with a level higher than your opponent's level. So this is the thing that gone out via Bond, Abilities, or Standby, or Early Runner. You can basically send that card to the bottom of your opponent's deck. So I see this as, okay, you're level 2, but you got level 3 out. I'm going to use this Gamma to send that level 3 to the bottom of your deck. And I'm going to do the action and give, while you're attacked by my characters, and give it 1,000 power. So I mostly see this for the auto. It helps reduce cards you don't need in your hand by putting them into your main room, and you get to remove a bigger opponent off your opponent's stage, as long as it's higher than the level your opponent is. So you run 1 copy of that Joker. Next, you have 4 copies here of Advising Omega. All your other Advising Omega and Fighting against Fate Epsilon get 2,500 power. Auto, put 1 Eminence character from your hand to your main room. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 Fighting against Fate Epsilon. Reveal it to your opponent, put in your hand, and shuffle your deck. So it's a way to get this card out as well as give it a power boost. So it's just a good way to get power boost where you need it. Next, we have 2 copies of Released Aurora. I'm so sorry if I say the name wrong. I'm still slowly making my way through the series. Action, pay 1. Put this reverse card into your memory. If your level is 2 or higher, search your deck for up to 1 level 2 or higher character, reveal it to your opponent, and put in your hand and shuffle your deck. And action, rests this card, choose one of your Eminence in Shadow characters, and that character gains 1,500 power to the end of turn. This is just a good way to get your level 2 of 3s out, and then if you choose to rest it, it's basically a 1/5 power boost. Next, you have 2 copies of this card. Continuous, this card cannot side attack. This just means this card can only front attack, really, if you choose to attack with it. Auto, pay 1, put 1 Eminence and Shadow character from your waiting room to the bottom of your clock. When this card is put into your waiting room from the stage, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 2 characters from the top of your deck. Choose up to 2 Eminence and Shadow characters from among them. Reveal them to your opponent, put in your hand, and put the rest in your waiting room. This is just basically good card retrieval from your deck. As long as they are ones you need, it's a good way to get them out. Next, we have 3 copies of Summoned Olivier. Auto, when this card is placed on stage from hand, choose 2 Jackson Nelson in your waiting room. Put them at the bottom of your deck in any order. And auto, pay 1, put this card into your memory. Look up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Eminence and Shadow character among them. Reveal them to your opponent, put it into your hand, and put the rest into your waiting room. So this is just a good way to get cards you need from your deck. As well as put a card from your waiting room into your deck via the bottom of your deck rather than the top. Next, we have 2 copies of Book Signing Beta. During your turn, this gets 1,000 power. And auto, put 1 Eminence and Shadow character from your hand into your waiting room. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 character with the same card name as a character in your stage. Reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, and shuffle your deck. The way I see for this, for like late game, is put in your back row. Because it doesn't say it has to be in your front row. To get these out. To get any of these 4, especially the 3 that run off sortie, out. Next, we have the 2 copies of the PR Beta. Auto, put 1 Climax card from your hand into the waiting room, and put 1 Eminence Shadow character from your waiting room to the bottom of your clock. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose a Climax card in your waiting room and return it to hand. This is a good way to basically get out the sortie when you need it, or to get this out when you need it. Depending which level you're at, will depend which one you get out. Next, a single copy of number 13 new. Auto, pay 1, put a card from your hand in your waiting room. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, or when this card attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 Eminence in Shadow character, reveal it to your opponent, and put it in your hand and shuffle your deck. It's a good way as well to get cards out. Plus, it gives you a good deck shuffle. Next, we have 3 copies of Lend in a Hand Shadow. All your other MC Shadow characters get 500 power. And Climax Combo. When the Stylish Bandit Slayer is placed on your Climax area, if you have 2 or more other Eminence in Shadow characters, look at the top card of your deck. Choose up to 1 event or Eminence in Shadow character among them, reveal it to your opponent, and put it in your hand, and put the rest into your waiting room. So basically, with this card, as long as they are out on your stage, you can get cards you do need out. Whether they're fellow level 0s, level 1s, or level 2s or level 3s. I know there's only really 1 level 2, which is the backup. So it's a good way to get cards you do need. Especially early game. Next, we have 3 copies of the 7 Shadows Delta. Auto, put 1 card from your hand in your waiting room. When you climax with a pants trigger in its trigger icon, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one character in your clock, return it to your hand, and put the top card of your deck into your clock. So basically, like, okay, there's a card I need in my clock. I'm going to take that out. Yes, it means there's a risk of it's a card you do need going into your clock, but as long as you've got a second copy of this card, or 3 on your stage, you can do that. No problem. And it is the deck's Brainstormer. Pay 1, rest this, flip over 4 cards to the top of your deck. Put them into your rain room. For each climax reveal amongst these cards, choose one character in your rain room and return it to your hand. So it's a good all-rounder level 0, as long as you make sure majority of the climax cards you have is of the pants trigger icon. Which is this one here, which is actually an archway, but it looks more like a pair of trousers / pants. So next up we have 4 copies of the Sortie Climax card, which is your 1/1 Climax card with pants trigger, which is this card triggers, you get to choose a class card from your rain room and put in your hand. And the other pants trigger we have is the Stylish Bandit Slayer, which has the same trigger ability and the same 1/1. This is really good deck management because it's only focusing on the 2 climax combos, especially for the Sortie and for this level 0. The beta also helps as well to get the cards out you do need. And the delta level 0 delta helps you get cards you do need from your from your clock to your hand. Especially like if it's, for example, you're a higher level and you find this is in your clock. For an example, you play this, get this back to hand, pay 2 to play over the delta. And as long as you have these 2 as well, then play out the Sortie. So it looks like an easy to run deck. I do like you have there is like 3 different backups, but each one has their own separate thing they can do, from the trial deck one to Gamma, all the way up to this one. You also got plenty of deck shuffling as well, as just getting cards out you do need when you need them. So I think that will do for today. I will put a link down below to Decklog where you guys can find this deck, so you guys can check out for yourselves. Or if you want to have a go at building it in the simulator, or if you have these cards for the Eminence and Shadow set, to build it and see how it actually runs for yourselves. Because I know I will with the simulator. I'll also put a link down below to why Switch's video covering this deck, as well as I will be tagging Joker on this, as is his deck. So, until next time, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you know whenever I upload. Make sure restriction mode is turned off, because otherwise YouTube hides videos from you guys, and we can't be having that. And also, please make sure you check out the rest of the videos here on my channel. And if you want to take part in any future content or have your deck shown, please make sure you go join my Discord server, where you'll find all sorts of Weiss Schwarz goodiness. Until next time, bye!